Hi, today is a bit different in the B1UP tips and tricks session in that this is a tool that I hope you never need to use. But there could be a reason for it, and that is our performance profiler. So we strive at Boyum to give you great performance with all we do, but we are not the masters of all things you do and SAP do. So whenever there's a performance problem, there can be three reasons. Either you made something that didn't perform, SAP did something that didn't perform, or we did something that didn't perform. So how do you know? We don't want to go into a blaming game with, oh, it's your fault, and so on. So instead of guessing, we like to actually measure. And that's the reason why we have the performance profiler. So let's go into Business One and let us have a look at this. So imagine you have the system and you have made some configurations on Business Master Data, and whenever you open Business Partner Master Data, it takes a long time. As you can see, I have already pressed and we are just waiting and waiting and waiting. Why is this slow? It finally comes up and you see this again and again, and you figure out if you turn on off B1 Usability Package, it's fast. So what is wrong? What have Boyum messed up? Well, your guess is as good as ours right now because you have just said it's slow. We have no data to go on. We have some articles about performance profiling and so on, and general performance, but it might not help in this case. In many cases, we will also ask you to turn off the modules one by one until figuring out which one is the problem child here. But if all comes to the end, we perhaps need a performance profiling from you. And the way you do this is you go up to Help, Boyum Support, Usability Package, Performance Profiling. This opens up this window. If you're doing it for the first time on a system, it will actually say, hey, I need to download some files in order to do the performance profiling. That's because the performance profiler is a 100 megabyte big download, and we didn't want to include that into our system. So once that's downloaded, you will end up with this screen and you will have 0 files for us. I had a file here in the past. And it tells you exactly what you need to do. You need to do the performance profiling by pressing the start button, and then you need to do the action that is taking a long time. You need to stop, and then we have a scenario. So let's do that and see what we end up with. So I can press here and we'll start the profiler. It takes a little while because it will attach to the process of B1UP. So now it's ready, and let's try to do our performance and try to do as little else than what you want us to measure. In this case is this one, but don't do it 3 times in a row because then it will mess up the signal. Don't go and look at some invoices at the same time and so on. Do exactly the one thing that is troublesome. So we've done that and we press stop. And now we have a file. And then you can say send to Boyum, and you can go in and write in your ticket number and send it back to us in your support. I won't do that because this is not really a ticket, but that's the way you should do it in your case. In my case, because I'm on the other end as well, I can go into this other options and look into the snapshot folder of what we have collected. So what we have here is this file, which is called a snapshot, which contains all the data. You probably, or you won't have a tool that can open this. It's opened by something called .trace. If you're a developer, I highly recommend it because it can help you a lot figuring out what is wrong in your code. So this is essentially what you send to us when you press this button. And on the other end, we will look at this and then tell you what could possibly be wrong. And I want to share with you what that other side looks like. It's a bit nerdy, but let's have a look. So if I press this one, it opens up in the tool called .trace. It's a fairly big file, 58 megabytes as you see, so it gathered a lot of information. So again, very nerdy to look at here, but essentially I can see what different things took in running this. And I'm actually thinking I'm looking at the wrong one here, because this is not the one we had. The one we should look at should actually be this one. So let's have a look at that one instead, because that is from today as well. The other one was my previous collection of something else, because that one only took a few hundred milliseconds. This one takes much more. So you don't need to know exactly what this is, and again, you can't really see it, but what I can see from this is the click of going to Business Partner took 10.1 seconds. And then I can drill down and see, okay, pressing the menu itself took only 16 milliseconds, so we don't really need to go in and figure out what that was about, but it took 10 seconds. And I can see now here that it was item placement tool doing this, taking all the work. So I already narrowed it down to figuring out, okay, there's something wrong with item placement tool. Again, we don't really know. Is it something you did wrong? Is it something we did wrong in terms of a bug? Or is it something because SAP is part of the SDK slow? Don't know, but we can drill down. So we can see it happens in, okay, we can see it's because we added a secret report tab. Again, I don't expect you to understand this. Again, even if you have the .NET Trace profiler, you need to know the B1 Usability Package code in order to understand this. So adding a custom tab took 15 milliseconds, adding fields, moving them around took 285 milliseconds, but adding this secret report tab took 9.5 seconds. Okay, I can drill further down. So it took 3.5 seconds to execute whatever SQL that is in that secret report tab, and then it took 5.8 seconds to do some formatting of that SQL. And that we can't go further down because there's limitations to how far down you can go, but we know and we can go into that specific method in our code, have a look at what it does. But we can come back to you and say, you have a very strange SQL statement in this. Can you please share with us what that is about? And let's go in. Again, we need to wait our 10 seconds, but let's see what that SQL report is all about. So this is the SQL report that's called My Report. And first of all, we can immediately see it has a ton of data in it, and it has a ton of columns. And if we go further in, we will see that this is just a select star from JDT1, the biggest table in the entire system. Probably not something you really want in your system. If it is, we're sorry, it cannot be that much faster in any way. I can tell from experience that this banded row colors is one of the things that takes a long time, because I need to do GUI operations or UI operations on all the rows. So if I turn this off, and this is because of SAP, it can't do it faster than what it does, but this will actually take the 10 seconds off and probably go down to 5 now. And you can see it's opened faster. and now we have unified rows colors instead. But we would argue here that, okay, you don't really need to have every single row of this. You probably shouldn't make a report like this just showing every single thing. So you're probably in this case missing some select statement that only takes out a few of the columns or the needed columns, and perhaps even a where condition on so it doesn't go faster. And again, if that's not enough for you, we can go in and say, okay, banded row colors in this case is the contributing factor to the performance issue. So that is why we ask for performance profiling. In some cases, it's very obvious like this. In other cases, it can be more tricky, but it can certainly send us in the right direction. And that's a huge benefit for us. So if you have performance problems like that, we will either initiate this or you can make a snapshot like this and send it along your SAP ticket. So with that, thank you for attending, and I hope it makes a bit more sense why we sometimes ask for this, because how powerful it is to actually help you solve performance. Thank you.